If you are a new investor, or if you are an old investor in AMC, and you ask yourself, man, is it really worth waiting for this AMC thing to go to the moon? All right. And I know this is a question that lots of people may be asking themselves now. All right, depending on when they came into the stock, or depending on, at which price they bought in, because we constantly keep being bullish on a stock, but the share price is not really just really transpiring or reflecting the news, reflecting, the videos on YouTube, reflecting the posts on Reddit, etc., etc. So at some point you get either bored or you get doubtful. So let me just point out a few things here for why I'm more bullish than I was last year on AMC. First off, all right, it doesn't make sense holding AMC as a short now. Why? Obviously, because the company is not at the brink of making bankruptcy. As a matter of fact, earnings for this year are going to be, I expect it to be better than the earnings of this just last quarter. So year over year, when you compare, things are going to be very interesting for AMC, because in between they made some very small investments. I'm talking about Highcroft, for example. I'm talking about the popcorn business. I'm talking about some major transformation they are in the midst of performing, which will bring added value, additional money into the mix. All right, so that's number one. Number two, we have rules in order to put a lot more transparency into what the hedges, into what the market makers, into what the broker dealers, into what any of the big guys with the big pockets on the street are doing through doppels, for example, or the way they are short selling stocks, or the way they are reporting their activities on a monthly and daily basis. We all know all of that is coming, even though all of those rules might not be implemented yet. All right, so that's number two. Number three, if AMC was really going back down to, I don't know, $8.532 a piece, all right? If AMC was really a dead cat, if AMC wasn't worth waiting for, why do you think we'll have institutions still holding and some others still buying? Because AMC is a volatile stock, meaning AMC gives you the ability to trade and make a lot of money in the short term, but also when you look at the long term view, especially given this short squeeze play, which is still very much intact and is getting stronger as time goes, well, it makes sense. Do you really think a Vanguard or a BlackRock will come here to make little money just by lending out shares? Because yeah, it is true that some of these institutions are lending out shares, but not all of them. Yeah, because everybody loves to make money, because the market is shifting. The market is already changing the color from what it used to be last year, right? With inflation, with the geopolitical unrest, with commodities rising, people are shifting where they want to have their money invested, because it is not going to be as easy as it was with tech stocks ripping pretty much every single month as it was the two last years. So people are now looking for things that are going to actually, either for some hedge funds, make them recover the losses that they made so far. Think about Melvin Capital. I wouldn't blame the guy if he was taking a position here in AMC, just because last year he ended with 40% loss. And this quarter alone, since the beginning of this year, the guy is down 20% already. And he's not alone. There are other hedge funds there. Tiger Global is another one. We have a bunch of them. And this is just for those where information leaked, all right? So, and then finally, do you think if AMC was really not worth waiting, the hedges will deploy such an amount of resources in media, such an amount of resources in debt, in margin, in everything, even putting spies on social media to kind of spy on what the Reddit crowd is doing to monitor those activities? Do you think they're going to fight so much some of the rules that were supposed to be implemented or are in the middle of being implemented? Do you think it will make sense for them if this wasn't worth waiting for us and destroying them if they didn't deploy, as I mentioned, anything in their power so long? Why do you think they're fighting it so much? It's because it has the potential of making them lose a significant ton of money. And by the way, in the process, making us, because that money will just change hands, and it will be it's a no go for them. It's a no brainer for them that this has to. I mean, that it can finish that way. The end cannot be in favor of the resale guy, of the average guy on the street. That's why they're holding so much. If it was something just totally, nothing to gain or nothing to lose on the other side, this would have been already done, folded, and moved forward with in the last 12 months or so. But because they know how big of a potential this is, man, they want to hold on. So I hope these few elements, and there might be others, this is just part of my personal view, my experience with the share price since this whole thing started, 14 months ago. And as I mentioned, there may be some other that I missed, but when I look at all of that, personally, yeah, I don't see why I shouldn't hold a little bit longer. Yeah, I definitely shouldn't. I may be wrong, but only time will tell. So let's see how it goes.